Kraft. I'm a Filipino-American from the Bronx, and I'm a senior at Manhattan Center for Science and Mathematics. I'm here today as a member of the Asian American Student Advocacy Project of the CACF to advocate for the AANHPI curriculum bill. Growing up, I truly believed that I was one of the only Asians in the Bronx. From being held to higher standards by teachers, to being asked if the Philippines was a real country, I experienced a lot of ignorance and casual racism from classmates and teachers alike. I soon started to internalize these remarks, rejecting any part of myself that had to do with my Asian identity to fit in and be accepted by my peers. I struggled to be comfortable with my heritage until I found the CACF. Now, I spend my time advocating for other students just like me. If students like me are able to learn about AAPI history, we will finally be able to see ourselves in the curriculum and the education system. We are not perpetual foreigners, and we all belong here. I firmly believe that an inclusive curriculum in teaching AANHPI history will challenge stereotypes, biases, foster empathy, and a sense of community among all students. Understanding and learning about each other, humanizing each other, will promote unity and solidarity, which are much needed in difficult times like now. This bill is not just for AAPI students, but for all students, and cannot wait any longer.
My name is Clifford Robin Taprosa. I'm the Director of Public Policy at the National Federation of Filipino American Associations in New York. I'm an immigrant. I'm a New Yorker. I'm Filipino and Chinese, and I'm a proud Gen Z. Shout out to the Gen Zs in the room. But most importantly, I'm the product of my ancestors' sacrifices, their hopes, and their dreams. We are the products of our ancestors' resistance and resilience. They built the roads, so this is our movement. They plowed the land, this is our movement. They served our country, this is our movement. They drove the taxis, they nursed the sick, they built this country, this is our movement! The Reach Coalition is back and stronger than ever, with more parents, with more advocates, with more students, more teachers, with more partners, and most importantly, a renewed sense of urgency and commitment. It's our third straight year back on these steps, and though our values have not changed, the values of our country have changed. With attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion, with attacks on women's rights and LGBTQIA+ rights, with attacks on immigrant communities, with the attacks on our very own existence and dignity, we must combat these shadows with equal measure and devotion. Combat the ignorance with love, with hope, with the power of racial literacy, inclusive curriculum, and a self-affirming education. Folks, when we're in the history books, we won't be in the hate crimes report. We have seen firsthand how quickly ignorance spreads like a wildfire when people in power and systems exclude, disregard, and neglect the truth. We are more than just a cliff note, and we stand unapologetic because we didn't just immigrate to this country, we built it. Our histories deserve to be taught, our stories deserve to be heard, our students deserve to see themselves in their classrooms. This year, we have a chance to turn the page on exclusion, write a new chapter that centers on healing, justice, identity, and most importantly, solidarity across New York schools.
Our coalition is honored to have trailblazing champions in Senator Liu and Assemblymember Grace Lee in leading the charge by introducing legislation to establish AANHPI social studies in the curriculum in K-12 public schools in New York for the third year in a row. In the previous 2 years, the bill passed unanimously in State Senate and amassed 49 co-sponsors across both chambers of legislature in 2024.
I'm honored to introduce a trailblazer and pioneer for AANHPI communities across the state. A leader whose convictions have ensured politics and policies are not just about the numbers, but about the people. And as the first Asian American to hold legislative offices in New York, it is only fitting that he stepped up to champion our movement. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Senator John Liu.
Did we move the Queens yet?
Yes, sir.
Reach! Unbelievable. We have such a massive turnout. It's not easy to come to Albany. But we have activists, people who care from all over New York State joining us here in the state capitol today to call for, to advocate for, to fight for something we desperately need here in the state of New York and far beyond. We're going to start in New York because this is where we are, because New York is the most important state in the country, Forget about California, we are leading. And unfortunately, we led in anti-Asian hate crimes for too many years. Recent years, we all know about all those reports, all the social media posts depicting anti-Asian hate during a global pandemic, which is what led us to this action. People call for more law enforcement, more punishment and penalties. We know what the real long-term solution is to eradicating anti-Asian hate. And that is by teaching all of our fellow New Yorkers, indeed Americans, that we, Asian American, Pacific Islander, Native Hawaiian people are just as American as anybody else. And that the success of America has been on our backs as well. Our history is American history. And that is why this legislation seeks to make sure that AANHPI history is taught in every one of our schools in New York. We are making great strides towards that. You know, this kind of legislation is landmark legislation. It is breaking legislation that has never been passed before in the state of New York. But we're gonna do it! And we've got more sponsors than ever before in the Assembly and in the State Senate. And we've got more advocates coming to Albany more than ever before. And this effort is absolutely needed because, you know, we are now facing a federal administration that is actually going to fight us in what we're trying to do in New York. Shame! Shame. So we have to redouble our efforts to passing this legislation so that we can be seen, we can be recognized as true contributors to New York and America itself. Thanks to my great colleague, Assemblymember Andreastewartcousins. Thanks to Brian Kavanaugh, who's been a champion on this bill, and many of our colleagues who will be coming in during the rally. And thanks most of all to the REACH Coalition!
I am honored to introduce another trailblazer and pioneer, being the first Korean American woman to be elected to the New York State Legislature. Her leadership amongst AANHPI community has secured millions of dollars in investments and formalized Lunar New Year as New York statewide school holiday. Though her time as legislator has been short, she has proven to be an effective, unapologetic, and relentless champion. Please join me in welcoming Assemblymember Andreastewartcousins.
Thank you, Senator John Liu. Whose history?
Our history!
Whose history?
Our history!
I am Assemblymember Andreastewartcousins, representing Lower Manhattan, and I would like to start by thanking the REACH Coalition for organizing young people who are demanding that Asian American history be taught in classrooms across New York State. Education is the best antidote for hate. What we teach translates to what we believe and value as a society. And when we exclude Asian Americans from telling our stories in American history, we teach people to see Asian Americans as foreigners or outsiders, making them easy targets for hate and violence. Are we American?
Yes, we are!
When Asian Americans are excluded from the story of American history, people do not view us as part of history, and they see us as foreigners and outsiders. We're viewed as outsiders, we're seen as suspects, we become scapegoats and targets for hate. And in order to stop anti-Asian hate, we need to start in our classrooms. We will protect the AAPI community by teaching Americans to see our pain and hardships as their own, to see our history as American history. Whose history?
Our history!
At a time when diversity, equity, and inclusion are under attack, what we do at the state level to combat hate and promote inclusion is more important than ever. That's why I am so proud to stand here with hundreds of advocates to call on the AANHPI curriculum bill to be passed in the legislature this year. There's no more waiting. It's time to do it. This year is the year we're going to get it done.
a legislative champion in protecting tenants, gun safety and prevention reform, environmental justice, and government transparency. He's been an outspoken leader on the issues that matter to working class families. Please join me in welcoming Senator Brian Kavanaugh.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here with such champions and a really wonderful and diverse coalition from all of our state. You know, I do represent Chinatown, and I'm very proud of that. And in my time now, this is my 7th year my 8th year, I guess, representing Chinatown, and I have had a growing awareness of just how kind of unaware that our broader society is of the critical role of Asian Americans, the challenges that have been growing in recent years because of hatred and some very bad rhetoric, particularly coming out of our federal leadership. But it is a basic fact that once we get beyond our immediate families, our schools are the things that convey to us the values of what's important in the society we live in, the values of what's important in America. So for Asian American students going to school, they should get the message from the school that their history and their role in America and in the world really matters. And all the other students also need to get that message. We have too many people that view Asians and other people who are not like them as alien, as foreigners, as sometimes worse. And that our schools have the power to change that, but we need to make sure that every one of them has the curriculum to do that. This is an incredibly important piece of legislation. I am very strongly joining and making sure we get this done this year. Thank you.
We have one more round of applause to our legislative champions, please. A leading voice on national efforts in the fight against racism and racial injustice, Stop AAPI Hate has been an unapologetic voice in solidarity and intersectionality. Please welcome Kenny Nguyen, Advocacy Manager at Stop AAPI Hate.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming out today. What an amazing turnout we have. Round of applause for yourselves. My name is Kenny Nguyen, Advocacy Manager at Stop AAPI Hate. We were founded 5 years ago in response to the surge in anti-Asian violence that we saw take place all across the country, and we're so happy today to be here with the REACH Coalition. Thank you to Assemblymember Amgracelee, Senator Liu, and to all the legislators who are here championing this bill for the 3rd year now. We are here to fight for this curriculum to be told, to be created, so our histories and our stories can be taught in schools all across the state. It's so important to show that we are a part of American history. For far too long, people have viewed us as perpetual foreigners, like we don't belong here, like we aren't from here. These types of misconceptions about us lead to more discrimination, violence, and bullying in schools. And education is the most powerful way for people to get to better know our community and confront these misconceptions so we can tackle racism at its root and prevent these acts of hate from happening in the first place. It's more important now than ever to pass this bill, especially as we're seeing on the federal front, President Trump is threatening to dismantle our education system and attacking the idea of inclusive curriculum. It's time for New York to show that through education that we do belong and that we are a part of this country by passing S3334, A4638. We want inclusive curriculum and we want it now. What do we want?
Inclusive curriculum!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Inclusive curriculum!
When do we want it?
Now!
Thank you.
During my time with the CACF, I've gotten to know one leader in particular who has used her voice time and time again to advocate for language access for Asian American students in New York City. Please welcome Yen Kwong.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yan. I'm a senior at Fort Hampton High School, and I'm the youth leader at CACF Citywide Youth Leadership Program, also known as Asian American Student Advocacy Project. I am here today with my peers, my ASA peers, and many other advocates in the fight for New York State AANHPI curriculum bill. This bill, I believe, not only important to me, to us, but to everyone. As an immigrant student, I often feel disconnected from my school community. This disconnection only in language barrier or cultural difference. It's the feeling that I am invisible in school, that my culture, my story is invisible. I remember one time when I told a person that I'm a Vietnamese immigrant, and her response was, "Oh, the Vietnam War." And it was not the first time I received this kind of response. Most of the students only think of the Vietnam War when they hear the word Vietnamese American. But what about the Vietnamese community? It's a story of family torn apart, of people forced to flee their homeland, of refugees who came to this country with nothing but hope and dream for a better future. What about their achievement and their struggles? Do we not exist? This misunderstanding, lack of knowledge and awareness have caused ignorance among students and led AAPI students like me to feel unseen and unwelcome. For those of us who don't feel ourselves represented in the curriculum, it often feels like we don't matter and no one cares about us. Stereotypes and faulty assumptions about the AAPI community, such as that we are monolith, we are all successful, we are perpetual foreigner, and we don't experience racism, are the result of the lack of inclusive curriculum. The stereotypes are harmful, divisive, and wrong. They are hurting students like me, and that must be stopped. The bill is a step toward ending the misunderstanding and the ignorance. Bringing AANHPI curriculum into the curriculum will help people become more aware of different cultures and become more empathetic towards each other. Not only for me, but also for every Asian American, for every immigrant, for everyone who has ever felt overlooked. I want everyone to understand our true history, see our shared struggles, and build an inclusive school environment for all students. Our community is diverse, with needs and strengths. Our school curriculum must be inclusive. At ASAP, we advocate for an inclusive school environment, where all students can feel seen, heard, valued, and supported in school. We need our elected officials to help us ensure that we are all welcome and that we can see ourselves in school and in society. This bill will have an impact beyond school. It's about ensuring people like me and all students from marginalized community feel seen, heard, and valued. Thank you.
One more round of applause for the Asian Research Institute at CUNY is a leading think tank and research center seeking to understand issues that impact the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community. Housed at the Institute is a localized history project, a youth-driven advocacy effort to build a more inclusive history curriculum for New York State, by youth and for youth. Please welcome Shreya Sundaram, Research Director at the Localized History Project at RE CUNY.
Hi everyone. So I'm the daughter of Indian immigrants who moved to New Jersey for the hopes of giving me and my brother a better life and a better future. But I would say the identity that I am most proud of, besides being a researcher, besides being a student, is being a New York City public school educator. I taught in the New York City public school system for 5 years, and I became a history teacher because I love history. I love the way that history can be an anchoring and grounding and rooting force. I love the way that history can be a site where we braid ourselves with other communities, where we build intersectionalities, where we build solidarities, where we really build a sense of belonging and identity. But as a history teacher in New York City, the most diverse school district in the country, I found that Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander history was erased and that my young people were invisibilized. And that was painful, not just because I'm an educator, but because as a South Asian woman, I didn't see myself represented in the curriculum that I was teaching. And so when I joined RE at CUNY and helped found the Localized History Project, I was determined to make a change and not alone. Because I knew that young people are the source not just of our future, but of our identities and about what the change we need in the present. I knew that the young people were who we needed to listen to in terms of what we needed to be in our classrooms because they are the ones experiencing our classrooms. And so through the Localized History Project, youth have created what a model Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander history curriculum can look like if and only if a bill like this is passed. And we can look to our young people for ideas, but it is our obligation to support them and to ensure that legislation like this is passed so that their vision can become reality. And so I'm proud to stand in support with the REACH Coalition as a member of ARI and as a member of the Localized History Coalition to support the legislation here today. Because Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander history is American history. And most importantly, our youth deserve to see themselves in their classrooms.
An Indo-Caribbean gender justice organization supporting survivors of gender-based violence to heal and become change makers. She is a participant in Jahaji's year-long leadership and empowerment institute. Please welcome Jonah McCall, an 18-year-old member advocate at Jahaji.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jono. I'm an Indo-Caribbean Hindu student who has always taken pride in my identity and those just like me. I'm here representing Jahaji, an Indo-Caribbean gender justice organization with a core commitment to cultural resilience. I'm here today to tell you why Asian American, Pacific Islander, and Indo-Caribbean curriculum in school is imperative to me and us. The REACH bill promotes inclusivity and helps future generations understand their history while fostering appreciation of Indo-Caribbean contributions. Our culture is often misrepresented or distorted due to a lack of proper education, leading to harmful misconceptions such as commercialization of yoga, meditation, and dharmic principles, which are often simplified to fit other narratives. The rise in anti-Asian hate underscores the urgent need for this bill. A more inclusive curriculum could shift perspectives, fostering respect by educating people about the depths and contributions of East and South Asian cultures. I had to wait until college and pay for an elective course to learn about the profound contributions of Asian history, something I wish I had been taught for free in high school. We, as a minority, have every right to be frustrated when diversity initiatives overlook the hard work of our ancestors. Their contributions shape not only our communities, but also the broader world. Growing up as a first-generation Indo-Caribbean American in New York, I learned about my culture primarily through elders and community programs like those offered by Jahaji. These programs serve as lifelines precisely because mainstream education has failed to include us. When Indo-Caribbean history is omitted from global narratives, it can lead many of us to suppress parts of our identity, feeling as if our contributions are invisible. The REACH bill is a commitment to ensuring Indo-Caribbean histories are seen, valued, and taught in classrooms. For too long, our stories have been overlooked, forcing us to learn our heritage in whispers. Representation in education is not just about pride, but power. It shares how we see ourselves and how others see us. Passing this bill ensures future generations grow up knowing their history as a vital part of New York's story. We call on legislators to stand with us because when we see ourselves in education, we see ourselves in the future. Thank you.
The nation's only Pan-Asian Children and Families Advocacy Organization, bringing together community-based organizations as well as youth and community allies to fight for equity for Asian American and Pacific Islanders. Please welcome Kosum Tapal.
I'm so excited to be here with you all today. My name is Kulsum Tapal. I am an Education Policy Coordinator with the Coalition for Asian American Children and Families. We are the nation's largest Pan-Asian advocacy organization fighting for equity for children and families, which includes our young people and so many of the folks here today. We've heard so much about why this curriculum is important, and I want to take us back of how we got started. It's so exciting. For the past 20 years, CACF has been engaging in community conversations with parents, with students, with educators about what are the things they're seeing in their school communities. And we've heard all of these things. We've heard struggles with mental health. We've heard struggles with identity development. We've heard struggles with anti-Asian violence and bullying. And when we ask them, what are things that you would like to see to address these really pressing challenges? We hear time and time again, let me repeat, for 20 years we have heard that we want to see ourselves in the classroom. We want our history to be taught. They've said that it is essential to addressing some of these pressing challenges. And so when I think about that, I think about how many thousands of students have matriculated through the New York State and city public schools that have asked and demanded more of us. And they have gone through the school system and they haven't seen themselves in the classroom. And so when I reflect back to the start of Reach Coalition, CACF was so proud to co-found it alongside OC New York. And now we have multiplied, every year we multiply, and we have so many people. First, shout out to everyone here. I think folks have said it, we have to repeat it. It is not easy to make it our way here to Albany from all parts of the state. And to the fact that there's more than 40 students here, that a lot of them are missing school, because that's how pressing this matter is. That's how urgent this cause is. And so we're so proud that 3 years ago we were able to found this coalition. We were able to fight for pressing and really important amendment fights to this bill for like really pressing language that the community was calling for. And we're here again today, and this year we're gonna pass this bill.
We're gonna do it.
Thank you so much to our sponsors, to Senator Liu, to Assemblymember Grace-Lee, to Senator Kavanaugh, to so many folks here present. Thank you, and stick with us in this fight. We're gonna win.
The Sikh Coalition is the largest Sikh civil rights organization that continues to advocate and fight the good fight to protect the rights of not only Sikhs, but others in the broader AANHPI community. Please welcome Savleen Singh, Senior Education Manager at the Sikh Coalition.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Savleen Singh, and I'm one of the Senior Education Managers with the Sikh Coalition. I am honored to be standing here today in support of these bills as Senator Liu and Assemblymember Lee reintroduce this crucial piece of legislation that will bring AANHPI contributions and histories in K-12 curriculum in New York. Now is when we need it the most. This bill is more than just about education for us. It's about recognition, representation, and the right of every student who deserves to see themselves be reflected in what they're learning in the classrooms. For far too long, the histories, struggles, and contributions of the Sikh community and the broader AANHPI community has been ignored and even systematically erased. As a result, our students are growing up without a full understanding of the diversity that makes up our nation. We see the consequences of this omission every single day. Students from the AANHPI community often feel invisible, disconnected, and even unsafe in our classrooms. That is not what we want for our kids and for the future. Last year, the Sikh Coalition released a national Sikh school climate report titled, "Where Are You Really From?" Now, the statistics I won't get into, but notably, 78% of Sikh youth reported that they were being bullied by their peers. This is double the national average, and this is highly alarming. We know that less inclusive schools are predictive of more bullying incidents, and when curriculum includes diverse stories and histories, it fosters understanding, empathy, and most importantly, the sense of belonging, which is something all our kids deserve. These bills are going to be a step forward in ensuring that every child in the state of New York, regardless of their background, learns about the history that has helped shape our country. It is a step towards dismantling ignorance and replacing it with knowledge. To the lawmakers who stand with us in the room today, I thank you for your leadership. I thank you for fighting the good fight. To the advocates in the room who have made it from all across New York, first of all, round of applause. Your voice matters. You matter. And to all the students who are in the room and who are just here in support of the bill, we continue to fight for you. I am a proud member of the REACH Steering Committee. I am a proud daughter of immigrant parents, and I am very thankful to be here in support of these bills. Thank you.
Afro and Indo-Caribbean immigrant-led social justice and human rights organization where inclusivity and intersectionality are the foundation of their work. Please welcome Olivia Valwa, Community Advocate, and Mohammed Q. Amin, Founder and Executive Director of the Caribbean Equality Project.
I'm Olivia Valois, an Indo-Caribbean transgender woman from Guyana and a community advocate with the Caribbean Equality Project in New York City. Our organization amplifies LGBTQIA+ immigrant voices through community building, education, and cultural programming. I moved to New York City in 2018 to escape abuse, transphobia, and discrimination. Asian American history is integral in the LGBTQ+ history, yet our stories are often threatened by hate and erasure. In New York State, the REACH AANHPI curriculum bill offers a chance to combat hate through education, teaching not only Asian American history, but also highlighting the experience of immigrants, trans people, and asylum seekers. We stand united to demand recognition for our history.
Whose history?
Our history.
Whose history?
Our history.
Whose story?
Our story.
Whose story?
Our story.
Whose history?
Our history.
Whose story?
Our story.
Amazing. My name is Mohammed Q. Amin. I'm the founder and executive director of Caribbean Equality Project. I am here as a proud, queer, Indo-Caribbean immigrant and a steering committee member of REACH. Indo-Caribbean history is Asian American history. For 2 consecutive years, the REACH AANHPI curriculum bill passed the New York State Senate, signaling a monumental legislative victory in creating a pathway for amplifying diversity and intersectionality in New York's Asian American communities. New York is home to the largest Indo-Caribbean foreign-born population in the United States, many of whom live in immigrant communities like Schenectady, Richmond Hill and South Ozone Park, Flatbush and Crown Heights in Brooklyn, Castle Hill and Wakefield in the Bronx. Teaching Indo-Caribbean history is critical in honoring the legacy, the struggles, the resilience of thousands of indentured laborers trafficked to the Caribbean, and the double migration of their descendants who call New York home. These descendants now contribute to New York City's ethnic diversity and economy, which fosters cultural competency, strengthens cross-racial solidarity, combats anti-Asian hate violence, builds political power, and ensures representation in public school. Indo-Caribbean history matters. Our stories matter. New York State must teach an inclusive curriculum that reflects diversity of the classroom. In this legislative session, we call on the New York State Senate and Assembly to support Asian Americans by fortifying our state to create access to equity, diversity, and inclusion through education by passing the AANHPI curriculum bill. Whose story?
Our story.
Whose history?
Our history.
A current high school senior at LaGuardia High School and an advocate in the New York Civil Liberties Union Teen Advocacy Project and an organizer at the Mingwan Center for Community Action. Please join me in welcoming Connie Lynn.
Whose history?
Our history.
Hello everyone, my name is Connie and I am a current high school student in New York City. I have a question for all of you today. Where do students go to learn? This may seem an obvious answer, but if you answer classroom, I think the best answer would be the news. Children learn from what they see on the news. From the news, children learn when they see people with the same eyes, skin as them, being attacked on the street. Children learn when they are called foreign aliens and criminals. Children learn when classrooms are no longer safe to go. Children learn fear. This is something I experienced as a New York City and New York State Chinese American student all my life. Misinformation that fuels hatred to my community circulates the internet, translating to hate crimes and bullying in schools. I fear. I don't want to have to fear. I want to see myself in the classroom and not on the news. In this country where immigrants are constantly attacked, we need misinformation to be debunked, which is necessary through education reform itself to make our students feel safe in schools. What I mean by this is accurate representation of marginalized communities, including Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander people. Representation is crucial not only in debunking false and divisive narratives, but also fostering solidarity and community collaborations for a future we all own. Today, I come with the REACH Coalition. joining with countless students, parents, educators, and community organizations in our fight for inclusive curriculum. If Connecticut can do this, if Illinois can do this, electives, New York can do this.
Yes, we can.
My 4th year fighting for inclusive curriculums in schools. I am currently a senior in high school. How much longer does New York State students need to wait for inclusive curriculum? Pass the AANHPI curriculum bill S3334 84638 now.
Folks, we've been joined by another legislative champion. Please welcome Senator Brad Hoylman.
Thank you. Thank you very much. State Senator Brad Hoylman Siegel. So proud to be here with my colleagues Senator Liu and Assemblywoman Lee. Can we give them another round of applause? You know, AAPI history is American history. Yes. And that's what needs to be taught to our young people. We have seen the dramatic increase in anti-AAPI hatred online and in person and across the state and across this country. The way to address hate is through education, and that's exactly what this bill means to cause, which is an understanding among our young people that it's not just about tolerance, it's about acceptance. And that's what we can achieve with this very important bill. I stand 100% behind you. Let's get it passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Case has been a long-standing community advocate for empowering communities. Lawyer, community leader, former school teacher, bringing his years of experience in private practice and volunteerism, we welcome Executive Director of Case, Richard In.
When I ask who are we, let's shout we are reach. Who are we?
We are reach.
Who are we?
We are reach.
Who are we?
We are reach.
Good morning and good afternoon. My name is Richard In. I'm the Executive Director of Korean American Civic Empowerment for Community. CASE is a proud member of the REACH Coalition, which consists of teachers, students, individual community members, and over 70 community-based organizations and affinity groups all across New York State. REACH is here to advocate for S3334 and A4638, introduced by Senator John Liu and Assemblymember Amgracelee, respectively. We are here continuing the push for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander history to be taught in New York State public school curriculum. As we all are very much aware, there are ongoing attacks and attempts in erasing our history and erasing our identity. Make no mistake, we will not be bullied. AANHPI history is American history, period. Our history covers the many contributions and histories of individuals and movements that helped shape this country, that led the way for the rights and privileges that all of us enjoy today. From fighting for American independence to rallying support for women's right to vote, serving as American diplomats and leaders of this nation, and much, much more. The AANHPI community has been here the entire time, has contributed to this country for centuries, and will continue to do so for a very long time. Passing this legislation is a step in building up a strong and robust education that benefits all students. This legislation is part of a greater whole in combating anti-Asian hate violence, is crucial to development of our community's identities, is necessary for building solidarity with all communities, and benefits all communities and all students. Support our communities, be on the correct side of history, and let's get these bills passed into law. Who are we?
We are we.
Thank you.
We have our last speaker. As a national civil rights organization and a co-founder of the REACH Coalition, OCA New York has been steadfast in their advocacy. Together with Immigrant Social Services, a nonprofit serving immigrant families, they have been serving Asian American communities in New York and beyond. Please welcome me in joining Angela Lee, President of the New York chapter of OCA.
My name is Angela. I'm part of Immigrant Social Services and also OCA New York. We stand here today not just as individuals, but as a community that has long been a vital part of this country's history and progress. AANHPI history is American history. In our after schools, we see firsthand the impact of Asian American Studies curriculum. When students see themselves reflected in classrooms, they feel more confident, they're empowered and engaged. Last week, our students celebrated Lunar New Year for the first time as a school holiday, thanks to the leadership of our assembly members. The next day, they were able to return to school and share their joy and experiences with classmates and friends. Experiences of sitting around dinner with their family and eating dumplings and noodles and receiving humbaos. And just months before, our students were also able to celebrate Diwali for the first time. By passing Asian American Studies, we are empowering the next generation with the tools to celebrate diversity, dismantle stereotypes, and build a more inclusive future. I myself am a product of Asian American Studies. Reading Dorla Club and Women Word in 8th grade, and then having the privilege of taking Asian American literature in high school, propelled me to pursue a career in advocacy and education. At college, I majored in Asian American Studies and found myself enthralled in books learning about the very history that was missing in our textbooks. From the Chinese railroad workers who helped build this nation, the Japanese American incarceration during World War II, and the resilience of Southeast Asian refugees to the struggles of Filipino farm workers for labor rights, I was finally able to see a fuller, more honest picture of America. But the biggest lesson came during COVID-19 and the resurgence of anti-Asian violence. It has shown us what happens when we don't teach our histories and underscore how crucial this work is. As president of OCA, we recognize and continuously uplift the importance of education for our youth. AANHPI studies ensures that all students, regardless of background, understand the interconnectedness of our struggles. It helps dismantle the dual myth of the model minority and the perpetual foreigner, and also highlights the solidarities that have existed between our different communities. We deserve AANHPI studies in our classrooms, and we deserve it now. This is our 3rd year of advocacy, and each year our community of advocates grow and grow. That's a testament to the strength of this movement that we're building, and I know if we need to, we're ready to come back again and again until we see this bill passed. Thank you.
Folks, let's be clear. Our ancestors paved the way, and this is our movement. We stand firm, united, and deeply unapologetic of our lived experiences. We don't just belong in history, we made history.
Professor Frank Wu!
One more round of applause.
President of Queens College.
How is everyone? It's so important that we finally address these issues. The pandemic made everyone realize that Asian Americans are here to stay, are Americans, and are equals. And that terrible, devastating violence that affected elders as they just walked down the street to go to church reminded us that no matter how hard we have tried, for some, we still have the face of the enemy. And in that moment, people came together and rallied, and they said, we stand with Asian Americans. Now that the pandemic is over, we have an opportunity to do better. Let's seize on that moment. Thank you.
We would like to thank our community for making their way to Albany. We would like to thank our elected champions, co-sponsors, and legislative supporters. Most of all, we would like to thank our young people who came out over to be a footnote. History has shown us that young people lead movements, and this time is no different. Let's give a round of applause to our young people. We urge the legislature to sign on the Senate Bill 3334 and Assembly Bill 4638. Inclusive curriculum is within our reach.